Last month, we saw major money moves from the state of Idaho. A report from the nonpartisan Legislative Service Office showed Idaho's budget for the fiscal year was projected to be running short about $80 million. The report last month signaled that Idaho missed the mark on projected revenue, aka tax collections. In response, Governor Little published an executive order telling agencies, minus K-12 public schools, to cut 3% of their budget. So, was that cut enough? Did it make a difference? Is Idaho now positioned differently in terms of financial fashion? A new report is now out with answers, and we have reaction from the legislative players. Extra, extra, read all about it. Idaho's updated general fund numbers, hot off the press. In last month's edition, Idaho was in the red by about $80 million, but action from the governor to cut budgets on the fly looked to make a change.
Governor Little's decision to do a temporary 3% holdback for now proved to be very wise, very precautionary, and it's put us back in the black.
Representative Wendy Horman is a co-chair of Idaho's budgeting committee.
We tried to say this last month when we were a little bit under. It was not time to panic. Now we're a little bit over. It's still not time to panic. It's still time to just look at what the actuals are in January when we get back and make decisions.
The updated numbers in the nonpartisan September budget monitor have Idaho as a plus $22 million ending balance, a swing of about $100 million since last month.
You're looking at numbers that are 1 million up or 20 million down or 8 million up. Those are essentially rounding errors in that size of a budget. So I think a key metric to look at is the size of the variance. It's very small, whether it was last month a little bit under, this month a little bit over.
The revised projection now puts Idaho back in the black at $21.8 million. What was your reaction to this news coming out?
Well, we're still lagging behind in revenues again, like $22 million. And had we not, seen the governor actually do those 3% holdbacks already, we'd still be in the quote unquote hole.
Democratic leader, Senator Melissa Wintrow, has been consistent for months in her belief that budget numbers for Idaho look concerning.
I've heard people say, oh, it's wait and see. We'll see how the revenues go. But I just am at a loss as to how we do budgeting based on let's wait and see, and it's going to be okay. I mean, budgeting is about common sense and math, and we just haven't followed that.
The budget report explains that collections for Idaho are still $22.6 million, or 2.8% less than predicted. Why do you think that is?
Well, it was irresponsible budgeting. It was just being reckless. It was, folks, my colleagues across the aisle saying we want to do tax cuts. Unfortunately, they help wealthy families. And, it's easy to politically say, hey, let's do some tax cuts, vote for me. But that's just that's not responsible governance.
You're going to have members from the Democrat Party saying, oh, the tax cuts were too deep. Well, I prioritize families being able to keep their own money. They prioritize letting the government spend the money.
We're just in a disastrous place that we could have prevented all along by actually using conservative budgeting principles and not being so reckless and really looking at tax cuts to get elected instead of responsible governance that really helps citizens instead of hindering their very prosperity.
People want to point fingers and blame at certain laws that were passed, and that's fine. They can do that. But over in JFAC, we're going to just go with sound fiscal policy, not political ideologies. We're going to make the decisions that are best for the taxpayers of Idaho. And right now, we're showing that we've been responsible with the funding they gave us. We're returning as much of it as we can to them and to families who desperately need it for their own living expenses. Again, the sky is not falling. This is not a time for panic, in my opinion. That is a change, but the key number there is in the black, and that's what matters going forward.
There are still questions, too, about how the federal funding situation will impact Idaho.